Hey everybody, my name's Andrés,
I'm Scott.
I'm Abe.
and this is Between Two Stands, a show that takes a closer look at the personalities that make up the DSO.
All right, so we've got a new segment today, and I am calling it Nightmare on Bald Mountain, which is basically, I feel like every musician has a few experiences where we've talked a little bit about like anxiety dreams before auditions, but there are other types of anxiety dreams that are music related, and they're often my favorite things to talk about. Let's hear it. Who wants to go first?
Um, I'll go. So I'll just two off the top of my head. I think I can't remember if I said this on a previous show, but I have this recurring dream where the conductor and everyone's there, and it always has to do with me being late because maybe that's just how I roll in general. But I show up and everyone's playing, and I'm like, oh, I have to run on stage, and I pick up the instrument, and then it's the only way I can describe it is like there's like a train that's moving, and the orchestra's the train, and I keep trying to play in the where I think I should play, but I can never catch up. I can never. It's the orchestra's always ahead of me, and I'm always like just a few measures behind, and I can't do it. And it's
The
so
time
frustrating.
wise, they're
Time
ahead of
wise,
you. They're not like moving away from
no,
you.
no, no,
It's
no, no.
like they're
Time wise, like the music's going, and I'm always behind the music, and it's just like it's so
So you're
frustrating.
so you're standing still, or you're
No,
or
it's in
you're
it's in
like
a normal orchestra scene, but like
okay, so
the
you're not like
music's
experiencing the time physically, right?
right,
If
right.
if that makes sense. Right. Okay.
It's just the music's going, and I'm always a few bars behind it, and it's extremely frustrating. And the other dream I've had is I wear the wrong dress, the wrong attire, which happens in real life a lot. But luckily Scott is in my locker room, and you can tell me like, no, it's tails today. I'm like, oh yeah, okay, thanks. But in my dream, I don't do that. So I'll walk on stage with the wrong stuff. And one dream in particular, our stagehand, Steve Kemp, had to give me his black shirt because I didn't have a black shirt.
He's just
And
like
yeah,
off
he's like,
off of
oh,
him on
here you
you.
go. So I remember the next day I texted him. I was like, hey man, you gave in my dream you gave me your black shirt, and thank you. But yeah, I think it just has to do with me being late and not wearing the right attire, which is something I struggle with in real
I,
life. So
I I have one more question. When you're playing, you said you pick up your instruments.
yeah,
You have so many different instruments. Is it always the same one? Like, are you
no,
picking up the triangle, or is
that
it the tambourine, or
that's not the part
The
that like
symbols.
yeah, yeah, that's not the part that I remember. It's always the part that's like I don't remember. You know how some details of dreams are not
Yeah.
clear.
oh, for sure.
It's just like I just can't get where we are. It's strange, but it's that one happens. I've had that a few times during quarantine actually because we haven't been playing a lot. So it's like maybe like that subconscious is like, can you still do this? Are you still capable of this? You know?
No, no,
Yeah,
can't.
no, yeah. All right. What about you guys?
Um, uh, I mean, I sort of have like the classics, like walking out on stage naked, right? That kind of thing. Like if there's a big performance coming up.
I've never heard of that.
And that was
Yeah.
really weird that one time you actually did that, Abe. So hopefully that
Right.
doesn't happen again.
Exactly. Fortunately, I've got a cello to hide
Yeah.
behind.
Right.
But
Thank God you don't play
um,
violin.
I know.
Or piccolo for that matter. Anyway,
So what's the other one? Is it like another classic, like your teeth fall out
No,
sort of
no,
thing?
it's like yeah, it's like teeth falling out, or like the cello's not in the case when
oh
I
yeah.
open it up, or like my music's not there.
The
Right.
music thing that's another one where it's like, yeah, you get on stage and the music's gone, which happened to me in real life at Rice
Yeah.
actually. Um,
Larry
so
must have been happy.
he didn't know. He didn't know.
Oh,
I didn't.
good.
I found out I had it memorized then, which was amazing. But
That's that's great.
yeah. But that's
Yeah.
not when you want to find out.
Oh, that's a nightmare in itself.
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually had before a big performance earlier this year. I think it was a Beethoven septet concert. I think I had the bow, like I think I had the instrument not in my case dream, and then I actually got to the hall, and like so my in the cello case there's usually two bows, like you have a spare, and I forgot my spare bow at home, and in a concert during my first season in the orchestra, my bow exploded during a concert. So I was like extra paranoid about the bow thing. So actually, Cheryl and Sam ran the bow over to me just in case.
Wow.
You know.
Yeah.
Because, yeah.
That's funny. I would have been like, oh, well, it's the spare anyway. At least I have one.
Right. What about you, Scott? What are some weird horn dreams?
So, like, this one that's happened to me several times now, and I don't know if this is a kind of normal one, but I end up with this like Billy Madison style dream where it's like somebody knocks on my door and it's like, we found out that you didn't actually graduate high school, so you got to go back to high school. And I'm like, I am my mature adult self in the marching band, like playing, and it's funny because I'm like playing as good as I do now and competing with all these high school students, and like it's very, very strange. Like the whole thing is sort of like, is this
like a Peter Pan dream?
That's so interesting.
Yeah,
because technically speaking, like having a high school degree is not a prerequisite to being in the orchestra. You just have to win the audition, right?
No, but I had to go back. They're like, we found out that you didn't actually pass, so you got to go.
You didn't pass marching band.
Well, it's kind of like that. It's like something very ridiculous.
Well, I feel like it's interesting. I mean, I'm sure every profession has its, anxiety. Anxiety's embedded in it, and it comes out in their subconscious.
Oh, tell us in the comments section. I want to hear them.
Yeah. Give us an insight into other people's anxiety, so we don't feel so bad. Awesome, man. And before we get to Sarah's interview today, let's hear what Larry has to say with his joke of the week.
So my wife and I were having this little argument while riding the elevator. I never realized I was so wrong on so many levels.
Today we're interviewing Sarah Lewis. A native of Petoskey, Michigan, Sarah completed her undergraduate at Michigan State and her master's at Juilliard. Sarah served as second oboe with the Toronto Symphony, winning her position as second oboe with the DSO in 2017, and later winning her current position as Assistant Principal Oboe in 2019. She has also played with the Met Opera, Minnesota Orchestra, and many other esteemed groups around the country. Sarah is also a passionate music educator. She teaches oboe privately while also having guest lectured at Michigan State and the Royal Conservatory of Music in Toronto. Before we get to Sarah's interview, please enjoy this short piece performed by Assistant Principal Oboe Sarah Lewis and her husband, McLean. Beautiful job, Sarah.
Wow. Yeah,
That was
great
great.
And
job.
McLean. And
Thank
McLean.
you.
Yeah, tell McLean, your husband, that we say nice job too. So
I
that's
will.
a very unique pairing of instruments. Is that something that you arranged, or like, you know, like, is there other music that has that kind of instrumentation?
You know, I don't think there's a whole lot actually, and you know, a few years ago we did like we played for a friend's wedding, and we did like trumpet voluntary together, and it's not the best mix of instruments, but you know,
I
it
liked
worked.
it. It was pleasant.
So a
Yeah.
bride walked down the aisle to the tuba.
Yes.
So when you say it's not the best mix of instruments, it's because the tuba ruins it, basically.
Well, you know, anything, you know, besides oboe, of course, ruins it.
Right. So is there any other music that has that kind of instrumentation, or do you find stuff that is just treble clef and bass clef and put it together?
Yeah, you know, we wanted to do like a Strauss thing for for my husband's grandma for her birthday, because she really likes Strauss music, and this piece is actually a waltz that I've listened to different singers sing before. It's Voices of Spring, and yeah, I just really love listening to Kathleen Battle sing it.
Oh, yeah.
There's a recording of her on YouTube, and it's just the most beautiful, sparkly thing. And so I thought, oh, that'd be fun to do, and maybe McLean could play the piano part to it. So,
Awesome.
yeah, on the tuba.
Of
Right.
Both
course.
hands. Yeah.
So Sarah, we also kind of like to ask, like, what music is on your stand right now? You know, what are you playing or practicing?
Yeah, so as Scott knows, we're playing a quintet concert in a couple weeks. So I've got that music. We're doing La Tombeau de Couperin by Ravel. That has a lot of fun oboe stuff to play. A new piece by Jeff Scott called Startin' Something.
Yep,
Which
friend of the
is-
show.
Yeah, exactly. And the DSO is actually going to play a commissioned piece by him next season too. So a woodwind quintet piece. So excited for that too. And then a Brazilian piece by Julio Medalha, and then Barbara's summer music. So
That's
So
a good
it's
one.
not just one thing. It's
yeah,
like 8 things.
two different things. Yeah.
I feel like I can plug in a little fact here. It's like, this is a very oboe quintet concert. Like, with the summer music's got this beautiful, like, wonderful oboe melody in it, and like the other pieces, you know, with the Ravel and everything else, it really showcases Sarah. And
Yeah, I'm lucky to get to play that great rep.
it's been a lot of fun working on it this year.
Yeah. It's a great group of people.
So who
Um,
all is in the group?
Yeah, it's well, Scott and I and Michael Ma and Hannah Hamill and Ralph Sciano.
Nice.
So
Awesome. Good
yeah,
group.
Awesome.
and we were supposed to play it in the fall, but we had a finger injury, so now we're doing it May 1st.
Yeah, that was
So
pretty brutal. I don't know. I'm sure it's fine. He wouldn't mind. But yeah, Ralph slammed his finger in a door or something, and what
Some
happened?
people do anything to get out of playing a concert.
Yeah,
And
that was pretty bad. That was pretty bad. That looked bad. He's fine now. He's fine now. But
yeah,
yeah.
I'm almost grateful in a way that we had more time to rehearse and play together and try to make it even better. And so
It's been good to have
thanks
an
to Ralph.
excuse to keep it going for sure.
every
Yeah.
finger is important.
One question, I was just thinking, for people who are less familiar with the oboe in general, and they see it as like, oh, there's another smaller clarinet sort of from a distance. Like, what is something about the oboe that you particularly like, or would tell somebody who doesn't know much about the instruments, from your perspective?
Yeah. Well, I oftentimes say we have a double reed at the top. There's this little reed that sticks out that you play into, so that makes it look a little different than the clarinet. But yeah, it's just one of those instruments that can sound very unattractive sometimes, or very attract. Like when I was in 5th grade, and I remember we went to listen to band students kind of demonstrate different instruments, and I remember going home and telling my mom, I heard the most horrible sounding instrument, and I don't even know what it's called, but it was awful. I don't know why anyone would want to play that instrument. And then when I got to 6th grade, there was a high schooler who demonstrated on the oboe, and I just thought, oh my God, that's the most beautiful instrument I've ever heard. I have to play that instrument. It has a cool colored threaded reed at the top of it, and I have to play that instrument. So it was years later when I realized that both of those
They're
instruments were the same. So yeah.
Wow, that's a huge spectrum. Never want to play that instrument, definitely want to play that instrument, same instrument.
And so much of it is the reed. It just depends on the quality of that little tiny reed at the top, whether or not you sound good or not. And we actually make our own reeds as professionals. Yeah. So.
How long is that process from start to finish with a new reed? So, because you're taking cane, I think, from the tube and splitting it and doing all these different processes from start to finish. How long does it take?
Well, it must depend on if you grow your own cane or not, right?
Yeah, we, it depends on the person, really. I know people who make a reed in 15 minutes, but make 15 reeds a week or so. And some people might take a lot longer to make a reed and make it over the course of several days. And so I personally spend usually a couple hours a day making reeds. And I usually start 6 or so reeds, and by the end of the week there are 2 or maybe sometimes just 1 that I actually like and would like to play on in the orchestra. So yeah, so I guess 14 hours for a reed.
It's almost a whole new level of practice that you have to just kind of weave into your daily routine.
Craftsmanship.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
I can show you. I have my reed desk.
Yeah,
here.
I'd love to see that.
So it's very, very nerdy.
Excellent.
Here.
Oh,
wow.
Whoops.
Oh, you're good.
You're
Sorry.
good. You're good.
Video cut out. Yeah, we've got so lots of different tools.
Wait, can you put the camera down a little bit? There we go. Oh, there we go. Okay. A lot of post-it notes.
Yeah, I have ideas about whenever I learn something about reeds or think of something new, I kind of try to jot it down and save. And then, knives and razor blades, and the cane we buy like this. And then we split it into a piece like that. Then we use these things called gouging machines and gouge it out.
Sounds painful.
Look.
So are you soaking some reeds right now? Is that...
No, I'm not,
No?
but I have
Okay.
a shot glass there.
Okay.
Because that's wow, that's really fascinating. It's really cool to get an insight into your workplace. I know Alex's desk looks very different. I'm sure like people's personalities really you could tell people's personalities from their reed making desk, you know.
Yeah.
But that's really cool. I really enjoyed that. Yeah.
Do you save your favorite colored thread for your favorite reeds, or is it sort of like, well, we'll see how this turns out, and then it's...
Yeah, I have certain colors that work better than others, and I'm not sure if it's psychological or if it's actually a difference in the thread. But yeah, if I have something big coming up, I'm like, okay, got to use pink this week. So.
Nice.
So Sarah, where were you raised? Where were you? Yeah, where were you born and where were you raised?
I was actually born in Arizona, but when I was a baby, we moved back to my dad's hometown, which was Petoskey, Michigan.
Cool.
Actually, we lived in southern Michigan for a few years, but when I was very young, 5, we moved up to Petoskey. So
cool.
Yeah.
So were you listening to DSO as a young kid, or was it, how early was the DSO in your life?
I was kind of like a late bloomer with classical music. Not many people I knew did classical music or even knew much about it. But I knew I loved band and I loved oboe. And so I went to Michigan State because I wanted to be a band teacher. And then, I still hadn't ever really been to a professional orchestra concert. And then I started dating this tuba player who brought me to Lansing Symphony concerts. And then he was actually a mentor for the Detroit Civic Youth Orchestra. So I would kind of tag along with him when he'd have his rehearsals on the weekends, and then we'd go to DSO concerts afterwards. So
awesome.
So that was like, it was during college when I really started to go to these concerts and like experience the thrill of a real professional orchestra sound.
That's really interesting. And the fact that you kind of were going into education first, and then you kind of realized, I kind of want to start performing.
Yeah, I had a great teacher, and she really encouraged me, to kind of do a little more orchestra playing. And I started out, like my first 2 years at Michigan State, I was actually in the marching band. So I was all into like, music ed and playing saxophone in the marching band and doing oboe too, but it wasn't like my main focus. And I loved marching band. That was lots of fun, and
got to see all the games.
Yes.
That's awesome.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
So were you out in the football field, or is it the same band that plays at the football and basketball games and everything?
It's so for the Spartan marching band, we play at all the football games.
Okay.
But the basketball games is a different group.
Okay.
Be like the pep band or something.
Yeah.
Andrés, did you do marching band?
I never did. No, never did.
Abe, no.
They put on. I went there. They said it's like really important. This was in high school, and they gave me I guess they were trying to haze me or something, but they gave me this, like they called it Big Bertha. It was this big bass drum, huge bass drum, and they put it like, and you wear it on the front of your chest and I'm like, I'm out. I'm done. I'm out of here. Like this isn't for me. So that was it.
That sounds awful.
It lasted about 15 minutes, and I was like, this isn't for me.
They refused to give me a chair pusher, so.
Right.
The end pin kept getting stuck in the
Yeah.
I mean, and in college, I mean, listen, Rice. We all went to Rice, the three of us, and
Oh, the Mighty Owl Band.
and oh man, the march. Yeah, they called it the mob, but like the games, the football. I don't know how they're doing now, but when we were there, it was not great, and
It was a hoot.
It was a hoot, right? And anyway, being at Michigan State, it probably was just, you get to see pretty high quality sports there, which is pretty awesome. Best seats in the house, kind of.
Yeah, I have to say it was kind of wasted on me because I'm not a huge football enthusiast.
Okay.
But yeah,
that's all right.
I mean,
I tried. I cheered them on.
It's an
I was
experience.
really passionate about them winning and all that, but
That's good.
You
When they scored runs
Yeah.
and baskets. Yeah.
nice.
Yeah, when they ran the ball down the field, that's good.
For me doing the marching band thing, it's almost like a sport in itself because it's pretty active. You're holding this instrument. You still have to try to make a good sound some of the time, and you're moving. And being in the Texas high school program when I was there, it was like, they take it very seriously. And so on the one hand, I was unlike Sarah, I really wanted to be a French horn player. So like marching band was a distraction from that to me. But on the other hand, there are times when it's a blast. It's like you can really get into that.
And there's competitions, right? I mean, people.
Oh yeah.
People like compete just with the bands themselves, which I know people take that pretty seriously.
Did you either of you ever challenge somebody for their seat or for their place in line? I don't even know what that's called.
A battle?
I'll let you handle that question first.
Me?
Yes.
Well, in marching band, we only had like one first audition, so I don't think we got it. But I remember with oboe and band in school, it was all about the chair challenges.
Anyway, we talked a little bit about your duets and stuff, and you mentioned before we started recording that was kind of the first time that you and McLean really played together. Is that like something you want to keep separate, or is that like just something that you haven't really got around to?
Yeah, I thought it was fun. He kind of, so back to what we were talking about, like transitioning between music ed to performance, mm-hmm. He actually kind of inspired me to go more the performance route in college, as well as my teacher, because he was just this amazing, like, superstar tuba player at Michigan State, and he won the concerto competition as a sophomore. And then he got this great award, and I was like, oh, okay, I want to do that too. So it kind of like inspired me. So I ended up, I think, like all of my accomplishments to a certain point in my life had already been accomplished by him. Wow. So I just tried to copy him. But yeah, so he really inspired me to play in orchestra and he introduced me to Mahler, who was his favorite composer, and I had never heard of Mahler before, and just like really opened my eyes to the world of performing and that is possible. So since then, he's actually become a geologist. He's really smart too. So he did his master's then at Michigan, after Michigan State, in tuba, and then did a master's in geology. And so now he does that. So he actually hasn't played more than 4 or 5 times in the last 10 years.
Wow.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So he's like one of those people who like doesn't play for 2 years and picks it up and sounds great.
Sounds pretty damn good.
Yeah. Whereas I take 2 days off and I feel like I can't even play.
Well, now I feel really bad about myself. The geology thing, and it's like, oh.
So we haven't played a whole lot together, but I think we will more and more. And our daughter is 2, and she really likes the tuba. And like we have this piano, and my husband's really good at piano too. So he'll start playing like Beethoven or something, and she says, "No, tuba, tuba."
Oh,
She
likes
wants him to play that instead.
Yeah.
So yeah,
If
you
it
have
if
you
it
have
makes you feel any better, when I go to work, Sam asks if I'm going to see a tuba.
I heard that.
Yeah.
Yeah, Cheryl told me that too.
Yeah.
Once it's safe, we'll have to have your Sammy over to our house.
Yes, absolutely.
Private tuba concert.
Right.
So yeah, you mentioned your beautiful daughter Kinley. So does she have an affinity towards? I mean, does she want to play tuba? Is there an instrument that she loves the sound of, or pieces she likes? I mean, like how have you introduced music to her?
She yeah, she kind of likes all instruments, all things that make sound. Like she was just playing harmonica a little bit ago. She likes to play the piano. Um, she sometimes she'll take those oboe bamboo tube canes that I have that I showed earlier. She'll just blow in it and then say, "Play oboe." Like,
Wow,
that's
awesome.
how it works.
I got this.
So
Yeah.
and she really likes singing. She sings Baby Shark
Oh,
all the time.
you showed her Baby Shark.
Yeah.
That's you're never gonna get rid of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've avoided that one at all costs.
Yeah, like the number one YouTube video with the very most views
Yeah.
on YouTube.
Like 3 billion or something.
Something like that. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Sounds like do. Anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, Scott.
Now it'll be in your head all day.
You're welcome.
So we always like to talk about things that are unrelated to music, and I didn't know this about you, but you have a camper van, and have you been taking it on like cross country trips much?
Yeah, so we bought this camper van from my cousin, who she and her husband actually just lived in the van for a whole year and explored the whole U.S., just looking at different areas.
That's so cool.
Just deciding where they want to plant some roots, and so then they were selling it, and it's kind of been my husband's dream to have a Sprinter van, so we bought it from them last January, and then we hadn't used it, and then the pandemic hit, and my husband does a lot of work in Nevada because he's a geologist, and we didn't want him flying back and forth in like April of last year because of COVID, of course. And we were off of the DSO for a while, so we just ended up our first trip with our camper van. We loaded up the baby and the cat and the instruments, and just drove across the country to Nevada to live for a couple months. And yeah, it was interesting. The van broke down a couple times, and
that's part of it. That's part of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wait, where did you stay in Nevada? Because I don't know. I know Reno and I know Vegas, and that's kind of it. Is there something that is there another like beautiful place?
So we stayed
besides
in,
Reno.
We stayed in Elko, Nevada, which is kind of in the middle of nowhere. It's like a few hours from Salt Lake City, a few hours from Reno.
Okay.
Not a whole lot there, but it's beautiful. We got to do some other short camping trips, and there's a beautiful canyon and some mountains and stuff. And yeah, so that was fun camping. Yeah,
that's
the ride
inspiring.
over was a little tough.
That's inspiring. That sounds like I would love to do that too. Just like get up and go, and kind of go anywhere.
Yeah, we're gonna go.
Go ahead. Sorry.
I was just gonna say we're going to the Smoky Mountains in a few weeks with it.
Awesome.
So yeah, I'm excited about that. So fingers crossed it gets up the mountains.
Oh yeah, no kidding. So are you like the camping sort? Being like from growing up near Petoskey, it's so beautiful up there, and then having this camper van. Is this like right up your alley, or is it more McLean? Like, are both of you into the different aspects?
Yeah, I grew up camping, like tent camping. There's a lot of beautiful places to camp and explore in northern Michigan, of course. So I always loved it. And then my husband was a Boy Scout. He's an Eagle Scout, and he
Mm.
really enjoyed it, experiencing it through that. And he's in love with the mountains and hiking and adventures. So yeah, so together we like doing it and look forward to taking our daughter on more camping trips when she's older too. And it's just nice to,
Great.
I think, get out of the city sometimes and just be
Unplug.
in nature. And yeah.
Well, especially now, like the city is such a weird place that's less city-like in these
Yeah.
unprecedented times.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah.
Well, Sarah, hey, really appreciate you coming on and talking to me. It's really,
Thanks
really
for
nice.
having me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, thank you. It's
Thank you,
it's great
Sarah.
having you on.
Yeah.
And would love to maybe do a big trip with your camper van if you don't mind
Yeah.
fitting the three of us in there. That'd be awesome.
Yeah. We'd be happy to, yeah.
Awesome. Well, hope to see you soon.
Yeah. You
Thanks a
too.
lot, Sarah. Bye.
Thank you.
All right.